Have you ever wondered how certain bands have such clean, articulate chords? Even when it sounds like they're playing intricate and complex voicings, every note seems to shine through perfectly. Well, there's a reason for that, and it has everything to do with how they build their chords. If you take a standard bar chord, say a C major, it sounds full, but in a mix, it can sometimes muddy up your sound, especially when you're using a lot of distortion or playing them in a busy mix. A big part of that comes from the way traditional chords are stacked, with the root, third, fifth, and often octaves doubling those same notes. But in certain genres, like emo and math rock, it's quite common practice for players to strip that down to get a cleaner, more defined sound. So, how would you go about doing this? First up, you need to remove any redundant notes. Going back to my bar chord, you'll see I have a lot of octaves of the same note, like the two C notes here, or the octaves of the fifth note too. You really want to break the chord down to its bare essentials to get the cleanest possible sound. For instance, here I could remove the octaves of both the C and G notes, leaving me with this shape. You can also take advantage of the open strings, which have a slightly different timbre from fretted notes, like playing the open G instead of the fretted one. This also makes the sound much more interesting when you start moving this exact shape up and down the fretboard, making use of the open droning note. Or you could simplify this even further and just play the root and third note, as the fifth doesn't add much colour to your chords in the first place, and it could be left for the bass or keys instead. A song that I think does this really well is Window by Tiger's Jaw. For this track, the guitars follow a similar approach to what I just showed you. The intro and verses are built around simple major and minor third shapes like this. Along with the addition of the third note doubled an octave higher. The thicker jangly sound comes from the lower pitched notes, while the octave doubled third helps it cut through the mix and better articulate the sound of the thirds. Taking a similar approach, I was working on a song for a client recently where I used a mixture of these partial chords to help create that cleaner sound. The progression starts on a G flat, and sticking with the idea of slimming chords down, instead of playing a regular G flat major, I removed the lower third note, so I'm only fretting the root note and the higher fifth, along with the open D flat and G flat strings. From there, I go to a D flat major down to a B, and these two chords are using that same shape from earlier, fretting only the root and third, along with making use of the open G flat string. Then, to change things up a little, I have this E flat minor chord, but played with the root and octave of the E flat, along with the same open G flat, to maintain a consistent droning sound throughout the progression. Lastly, to add some dissonance, I move this shape down a half step to D, creating a quick transitional sound between major and minor. Having the first half of the chords make use of the third note being higher in pitch, then removing this from the final two chords adds a nice contrast between the two, as you get a sense of build up then release as the progression plays through. And if you're getting bored with simple shapes like power chords, watch this video next to find out how to create more interesting progressions. No theory needed.